अली अल्लाह मदद फरमा, अल वाहिदुल कहार। अली अल्लाह मदद फरमा। अल हई 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 الهي 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 तू में फना हो जा तब गंज निहान तू है, तब गंज निहान तू है। यूं हो तो समझ लेना वो जाने जहान तू है, वो जाने जहान तू है। असरार खुदी को तू है काश समझ लेता, है काश समझ लेता। इस आलम शख्सी में एक शाह शहान तू है, एक शाह शहान तू है। हर चीज तुझी में है, बैरून नहीं कुछ भी, बैरून नहीं कुछ भी। है अर्ज़ो समा तुझ में और कौन मकान तू है, और कौन मकान तू है। الهي 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 حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ونعم المولى ونعم النصير. 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 The verses I read in Urdu, the translation in English is, if you merge in who is used for God. If you merge in who, you are the hidden treasure. If this status you attain, understand that you are the soul of the world. If only you had understood the secrets of your own self, you would be the king of kings in your personal world. This reminds us of a saying of Prophet Muhammad, Maula Ali, saying of Maula Ali, Manar fa nafsihi faqadar fa rabbihi. An almost similar saying is for Prophet Muhammad as well. Everything is within you. Everything is within you. Nothing is outside you. The earth and heaven are within you, and you are the universe. Subhanallah, subhanallah, subhanallah. What a beautiful, full of hope, full of encouragement, and full of excitement to find out who are we and what is in our personal world. Subhanallah, subhanallah. So we have gathered to continue to discuss our Farman number 18 of Munjawni, December 29th, 1983. And we were supposed to start from here. So let's recite the salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadi wa ali Muhammad. Hazrat Imam Aka Sultan Muhammad Shah ફરમાવ્યું કે મુર્શિદનો ગમે તેવું ફરમાન માનવું જોઈએ. તે વિશે બેત ફરમાવ્યું કે મુર્શિદ અગર એમ ફરમાવે કે શરાબથી વઝુ કરી નમાઝ પઢો તો તેવું ફરમાન પણ માનવું જોઈએ. Today, this Farman is actually about obedience to Imam's Farameen, Imam's guidance. So in this first paragraph, very interestingly, we learned few things. Number one, that whatever Imam said, everything was not transcribed. And probably Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah at that time said some verses in Persian, because Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah loved Persian verses, Persian poetry, and he was able to speak. He had a command on Persian language as well. So he said Persian poetry, and those who were transcribing probably did not know. And Imam explained the meaning of those Persian words which he had recited. And Imam explains that first line, and then he explains the meaning of the verse, that if Murshid is the term from Sufi culture, Sufi teachings, and they would call their teacher, their Imam, Murshid. So we understand when Imam is saying Murshid, we know it is about Imam. So Murshid, whenever our teacher or Imam, whatever Farman is given to us, we have to accept that Farman. And in regard to that, Imam recited a verse which meant that if your Murshid tells you to clean yourself, to prepare yourself doing wuzu before namaz with alcohol, you must do that. In the earlier Farman, Imam has taught us that alcohol is so bad and we should not be drinking alcohol. And now he's saying, use alcohol instead of water to clean yourself prior to saying your prayers. Then he says that if there is a Farman like that, you must accept. Why Imam would give such a drastic example? Such a drastic example to challenge us, to shock us. If we were to have Farman like that, which is completely in our mind, in our thoughts, wrong. But when Imam gives us Farman, that wrong becomes right. And we do not use our intellect. Meaning, here Imam is teaching us that yes, you are blessed with intellect. And we have been learning that our being is at 3 levels: physical, spiritual, and intellectual. We have been learning that we have to seek knowledge, true knowledge, to be able to nourish our intellect so we can use our intellect to understand Imam's Farameens, Qur'anic verses, or Ginan's meaning. But here Imam is saying, if I challenge your intellect, you have to accept it. So what happens here? When someone starts learning and they have knowledge and they become someone with knowledge, and if the Farman is such, which is asking you to let go of all what you know and submit, a Mu'min will not hesitate to submit. Whereas those who would think, no, I know so much and I am so and so, it will be very hard to submit. It will be very hard to let go of their own intellect. What will happen? You know, if we were to take a typical example, someone, hi, how can this be Farman? Wash ourselves with alcohol? Even just saying that, expressing that shock, meaning you're using your own intellect in front of Imam. Do we hear that? Have you ever witnessed that kind of conversation? People asking questions like that. I have, because we do not understand that our intellect, our beings, is nothing in front of Imam. When we say Tan Man Dhan, we have given to Maula Bapa, that's how it should be. We submit our being to our Imam. But when we even know a little bit, we use our intellect and it goes to our head and our intellect becomes strong in front of others. I know and I have to be respected and I have to make my point. That is not the way of the Mu'min. Mu'min's way is of humility and of acceptance of Farman, regardless of what kind of Farman Imam is giving us. And then the next paragraph, Imam is guiding us. Sharab kevi kharab vastu છે તે જાણે છે, છતાં હુકુમ હોય તે પ્રમાણે ચાલવું જોઈએ. બિહિશ્તમાં જવાનો રસ્તો કયો છે તે પીર મુર્શિદને ખબર છે. Imam now, reading our thoughts, Imam is saying that sharab is such a bad thing. We all know that. Despite that, if there is a hukum, there is farman, there is command of Imam, we have to walk according to Imam's farman. We have to follow Imam's farami. Someone might have asked, why do I need to do that? Why have to accept farman, which is so illogical? Because people use their intellect, right? Imam knows everything. Imam knows every thought. He says, Jane chit ki chori. Even the tiniest thought, he knows. So here Imam replies, if you want to go to paradise, if you are seeker of paradise, then you have to accept what Pir Murshid is saying. Now here Imam is using two words, Pir Murshid. Remember, for us, our teachers were our Pir. So the word Murshid actually means the teacher. And we have understood that teacher here is also Imam. So Pir were our teachers. In Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah's time, Piratan was merged with Imam. But we do still have Ginans, and we recite Ginans, and we try to learn and understand the meaning of Ginans, and understand the meanings according to today's time, according to the knowledge of today's time. But what Imam is teaching us here, that whatever our teacher, our Pir, our Imam is teaching us, because they know the direction, the path to paradise, and we have to follow the faramin, we have to accept it. If we use our intellect, if we say, how can this be? That is it. What we claimed, we cannot accept that farman because we know more than Imam. તમે બીજા મુલકમાં જાઓ અને તમને રસ્તાની ખબર ન હોય અને ભમ્યો કહે કે આ રસ્તે ચાલો, તો તે રસ્તે ચાલવું જોઈએ. તેનો હુકમ ના માનીએ તો તે ઘેરે આગળ પંથે પહોંચી ન શકે. તમને ખબર ના હોય અને તે કહે તે રસ્તે પગડી ઉતારી ચાલવું, તો તે પ્રમાણે કરવું જોઈએ. Now, very interestingly, I am sure that Imam must have seen the shocking faces, and Imam had to give another example because it was about what Imam is teaching us, not the example he's using. So Imam gives another example. And he says about a guide. When we go travel to different country and we have this tour guide, guiding us how to go about our journey. So here Imam is saying that if you were to have a guide who is showing you the path, how to travel, and he tells you that on this path, remove your pagdi. Pagdi is the thing which, our elder Jama'at used to wear in some parts on their head, right? And it is a symbol of respect and age, and it is a symbol of knowledge, symbol of, being someone in the community. Meaning, he is talking to those who know, who have knowledge, who are respectful, who are elders, who are holding titles. He's saying if guide tells you to remove your pagadi and walk on the path, it is a symbol of honor due to all what they have, titles or knowledge or whatever kind of honors they have. It depicts, it's a symbol of that honor. To remove your honor, it is difficult. Why would you do that? Imam is saying in this example so many things that when you are walking on the path and the guide tells you to remove your pagadi, again, very shocking example. Remove your honor, remove whatever you know, let go of your titles and accept the farman. Very difficult thing to do. But Imam is giving example. If the guide says so, you got to do that. If you're on the journey, you got to do that. Because he knows the path. You do not. You are attached to that pagadi, that status, that title. Oh, I am in the institution. I cannot do this. Oh, I am on the path. I cannot do that. I'm just giving examples. The objective here is Farman Bardari. Are we courageous enough, obedient enough to obey the Farman of Imam? So, Imam is, again in this example, telling us that you, when you go on this journey, you do not know the direction. You have no knowledge of the path. You may be someone with status and title and pagadi or knowledge, but you do not know the path. And if the guide tells you to do that in order to survive on the path and go further on the journey, you got to do that. તમને સવાલ પૂછ્યો છો, તમે સવાલ પૂછો છો કે તમને રસ્તાની ખબર ના હોય તો તે ભૂમિઓ કહે તે જ પ્રમાણે ચાલવું જોઈએ કે નહીં? Imam is asking question. You tell me, if you do not know the path, do you not need to follow the guidance of the guide? Again, he's asking Jama'at to reflect and think. People say, why did Imam not give us Farman like that? Do we not hear that? Why do we say that? Because we think our intellect is more than Imam. Because we've understood something important today, and we are looking for Imam's Farman to validate our thinking. Imam is Imam. He is Akhlekul, he is Nafsekul. He knows what is he doing. Who are we to ask this Farman or that Farman? We have to use our intellect and remain quiet in front of Imam's intellect. Imam has blessed us with the intellect, so we are expected to use our intellect. We are expected to seek knowledge. We are expected to attain honor in the knowledge. But if there is a Farman, we do not ask why and what, we say, Ji Khudavi. So I hope that we are able to reflect and think broadly and understand the Farman of the Imam. બાદ મૌલાના હાજી ઇમામે ફરમાવ્યું, ભૂમિઓ તમારા સાથે હોય અને તે કોઈના ઘરે તેડી જાય, ત્યાં તેનું ધણી ના હોય અને તે કહે કે હું છું તો ફિકર નહીં, અને તે કહે કે અહીં બેસો તો તમારે ત્યાં બેસવું જોઈએ, કેમ કે તેને ખબર છે. Now, very interestingly, Imam gives this example, he takes it further, and he says that if guide is with you and he takes you to someone's house, and because remember Imam is giving example of the pagadi, all the men, honorable men, respectful title holder men, and going to someone's house, and in that house, the head of the household, the man is not there. Again, remember the culture at that time. the head of the household should be there for anybody, other men to enter into the house. Taking that sensitive example, cultural sensitive example, Imam is explaining a fact for us to understand. First, Imam challenged our, our learnings about sharab, about alcohol. Alcohol is najaiz, it is wrong. In Shariati law, we do not drink alcohol. So he is challenging first the Shariat in our head, that even if that level of farman is being given to you, you have to accept. At the second level is giving direction, guidance and guide. Third example is cultural example. Again, connecting to respect and honor. No man can enter into the house where other man is not present because it is just not acceptable. Women are in the house. Culturally, you do not enter. So Imam is now giving example from culture that if that guide who is showing you the path tells you to go into the house, and in that house, the man of the house is not present. And now if you are aware of the cultural, context here, it is absolutely wrong for a man to enter into a house where others, women are there. And if someone is seen coming out of the house of someone else whose man was not there, you are labeled in society as a bad character person and you will have to face consequences. So understand that sensitive example Imam is giving. So Imam is saying that if the guy tells you to enter into the house of someone whose man is not there, you would hesitate, you would not enter, you would argue and hesitate so many times. But Imam is saying, if the guy tells you, "Hu chu, to fikr nahi. I am with you, so do not worry." When Imam says that, this example, what do we think in our mind? We have to reflect. So in this Farman, Imam is saying that if he says that don't worry, enter into the house and sit in the house, not just enter and say Yali Madat and come out. No, you need to sit in the house, meaning you are spending time. When you are spending time and you are coming out, and if somebody sees you, that is it. Your image, your status, it's all gone. You cannot even live in that community because immediately it is on your character that you are not a right character person because you spent time in the house of someone where only women were there and the man of the house was not there. This is very sensitive example, taking into the context of that time and culture. Why Imam is taking such example, which is shock after shock after shock? Because we do not understand. We do not understand Farman Bardar. Then Murshid ne sagdi khabar che. Imam says, Murshid ne sagdi khabar che. Te kahe ke mohar na badlama sharab ne સિજદો કરો તો કરવું કારણ કે મુર્શિદનો ફરમાન માનવું જોઈએ. મુર્તઝા અલી મહાન છે, તેમના ફરમાન માનવા જોઈએ કારણ કે તેઓ પોતાની કુદરતથી ગુનાહ બક્ષી બહેશ્તમાં મોકલી શકે છે. Imam again uses the term murshid as teacher, that when Imam gives us farman, he teaches us something. That again, Imam is giving us example of alcohol, that you need to use that for, wazu, for cleanliness. Or even, I do not understand these words, sizo. I had to look into the Gujarati book earlier as well because does anyone understand what is here? Word sizdo? Is it sajda? I'll have to read my Gujarati Farman to make sure the wordings are correct. But we do understand the essence of it, that it says that, let's say, instead of water, you have to use alcohol, meaning very negative example. The key is, the essence here is, Imam's direction is that we have to accept the Farman of Murshid. Unfortunately, in this transliteration, there are some errors. And, my Gujarati has become kind of weak because I've not been reading regularly. So it takes longer for me to read that. So I conveniently come to English Roman transliteration. So forgive me. But those who are readers of Gujarati, I would request them to read. And, and when there are words like that, help us out. So that'll be easier. All right, so we'll move further. Imam is now telling us about Murtazali. Murtazali's Noor is in Sultan Muhammad Shah, is in Shah Kareem. But we always remember this cycle, all the Imams by the name of Ali, and that is why in our dua, we always say, Ya Ali, Ya Muhammad. We do not say Ya Kareem. We don't say that. Because Maula Ali was the first Imam in this cycle. So we remember this Imam as the beginner of this cycle. So Maula Ali Mahan, meaning the honor, the respect of Maula Ali is above all. And we need to obey his farman. Why do we need to obey? Imam again is teaching us that Imam has that kudrat, that ability to forgive our sins and take us to paradise. What do we seek? We seek paradise. Which paradise? Not the paradise which Imam has explained in the Farman, that if you are seeking paradise, it is as if you are seeking the comfort of the paradise, then it is not the right paradise. The paradise is Imam himself. Ji, Ferial, you want to read this part for us?
Ji, Niamat Didi. So it says, મુર્શિદ ને તો સઘળી ખબર છે. તે કહે છે કે મોહરના બદલામાં શરાબને સિજદો કરો તો કરવો.
So what is mohar?
મહોરના બદલામાં.
What is mohar?
So one mohar is like, when we when we get married, we give the mohar, like in exchange of something.
But then that doesn't make sense. That's why, you have to read Gujarati and then look for meaning. So I do not know the word mohar here.
Money.
Money. Thank you. So meher is money. Yes, you're right. Okay. So we understand, right? Now, worldly example. Thank you, Ferial. Thank you, Ashraf. So mohar is money. कि मोहर ना बदले शराब ने सजदो करो, meaning that the way we desire mohar, money in the worldly life, seek sharab. So still, I don't think we are understanding the meaning of mohar in the context Imam is using. I don't think so we are. So we'll leave it like that because there are some words in that context or language, and if we don't have full capability, we have to leave that. But we understand. What we understand here? That's what Imam is teaching us, that we have to obey the Farman. But I do request those who know Gujarati, do read this Farman in Gujarati and help me out, because some words are difficult. So thank you so much, friends. All right, so Murtazali. The paradise which we seek, we all know that Imam has referred the paradise as stable of the horses. We do not need that paradise, meaning that paradise is the beginning stages of paradise, as paradise also has darjat. Paradise also has darjat. And we are seeking the highest level of paradise where Imam is there, because Imam himself is our paradise. And this is the miracle of Imam, that he can forgive our sins. Question is, are we sinners? We all are sinners, because we have this illness of carnal, soul, spiritual diseases. Every day, it's a new day. We begin a new day, and we, check our pulse every night, become ashamed of the sins we have done, and we ask for forgiveness. and start a new day. Every day is a new day for us until we become so strong that we do not sin, which we sin habitually. Do you know sins we do habitually? It is our habit to sin. And when we start becoming mindful, we would realize that it is my habit to sin. Mindlessly, I continue to sin. So what we need to realize that we work very hard, those who are on the path, not to commit sins. But we do sin. We do sin. Despite having all knowledge, we sin. So though we are on the path and we continue to desire ourselves to protect ourselves from not committing any sins, we do sin. And we seek forgiveness from our Imam. So the miracle of Maula Ali, that he will forgive our sins and take us to paradise, meaning with him. It is only Maula Ali's miracle. No one else in this world can do that. Anyone other than Imam, if claims anything else, they cannot do that. It is only the Imam who can take us to paradise by making us all completely pure, the way we were born in this world. Clean slate, no sins. Only Imam can do that for us. Nobody else can do that. જે વખતે જે ફરમાન થાય તે મોહબ્બતથી માનવું જોઈએ અને ફરમાન કરે તે પ્રમાણે ચાલવું જોઈએ. કેટલાક વાતો તમારી અક્કલમાં ના ઉતરે તો પણ પીર મુર્શિદ ફરમાવે તે પ્રમાણે તમારે કરવું જોઈએ, કારણ કે તમને સગળું રોશન છે. Very, very interesting paragraph, and somehow this has been bold here. So there are so many things Imam is teaching us. Now, first, Imam is teaching about mohabbat, ishq. If we are lovers of Imam, we do not need to ask questions about becoming obedient to Imam's farman. We just say, Ji Khudawin, we accept the farman. Whatever Imam's farman is. And surely Imam is highlighting that if faramins do not make sense to you, meaning it does not appeal to your intellect. In fact, if it challenges your intellect, do not let your intellect come in between. In obedience to Imam's faramin, do not let your intellect hinder you. So that is a very, what I'm saying is contradiction, if you understand that. On one hand, we say we have to use our intellect, we have to nourish our intellect, we have to be intellectuals to be able to understand the farmans. But when we have intellect, when we have knowledge, and we ask questions like that, why Imam is not given that farman? That is the mistake. Who are we to even ask? Meaning, when we have knowledge, when we have intellect, and if we understand something which challenges our intellect, we do not let our intellect to do that with us. We accept. This also helps me, reminds me of, some friends saying that they see this or they feel that in ibadat time or knowledge classes or different kind of things, which doesn't make sense and which is scary or which is shocking. The key is, do not use intellect. Remain in acceptance. Remain in acceptance. Wherever we are in this situation where we have to be able to understand where should I use my intellect and where I should not use my intellect. So farman, when we are understanding the farman of Imam, we do use our intellect to understand it. We do have to. But we do not use our intellect to challenge Imam's farami. Does that happen? Yes. Why would it happen? Because we don't understand Imam's farami. But we do not let our intellect challenge us. We accept Imam's farami. Whatever Imam's farman is, we have to accept. કેટલીક વખત તમારી અક્કલમાં ના ઉતરે તો પણ, many times Imam says that if your intellect doesn't accept, it doesn't make sense to you, but you have to accept the farman. કારણ કે તમને સઘળું રોશન છે. Very interestingly, he ends this paragraph saying, because you know it all. If you know it all, why would you feel challenged? Meaning, again, there are two different levels of Mu'mineen Imam is speaking to. The first level is those that even when the Farman is made and it does not accept your intellect, like your intellect challenges it, becomes shocked, you don't ask questions. Don't use your intellect. Just accept. But on the other hand, there's another group, Imam says, you know it all. Because you understand what Imam is Farman's meaning. So we have to really, when we read these Faramins, we will realize that Imam is saying several things in one point in time. The reason when we critically read this Faramin and reflect and understand, we will see how Imam is responding to different darjat in Jama'at. There is always darjat in Jama'at. Always. Because all of us, we are on the ladder. Depending on the riyazat and ibadat and knowledge, everybody is on the step. And according to their step they are standing at, they will understand. So one group is being told, do not use your intellect and just accept. The other group is being told, you know why am I saying this? You know it, you all understand it. Ji Khudavet. આજ રાતે પણ ઘણું મોડું થયું છે. હવે ખુદાની બંદગી કરો. ખુદા તાલા તમારા બધા ગુના માફ કરશે. આમીન. Very interestingly, we realize that Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, when he was with Jama'at, he would go late in the night giving faramins. How blessed they were. They were with Imam and they were getting this faramin until late. And Imam is saying that today also we have, gone quite late in the night, but now it's not the time to sleep. He's not saying that you are tired and you need to sleep. No, it is time to remember your Lord. Meaning, what we are learning in today's time, though the must in Baitul Khiyal is 4 to 5, right? Because we have accepted that nawafil ibadat, that additional prayers, and we have asked Imam to give us this, practice of Baitul Khiyal. So we took this 1 hour. But with this 1 hour, this is nawafil, this is additional prayer because it is voluntary. Those who are mu'mineen, they understand that it is in doing more where the he is. Because we know the hadith Qudsi, meaning ayat of Allah, saying of Allah, that no one can come close to me except those who do nawafil ibadat, who do additional ibadat. Meaning, 4 to 5 is a commitment we have given to Imam. If we are ready to do more, we have to wake up at 3 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, or remain awake until later in the night. Whatever way we can do. The night time is not only for sleeping. The night time is for ibadat as well. Nobody's saying we shouldn't sleep. Otherwise, physically we'll fall sick. We do need to take care of our body. We need to sleep. But we have to decrease the hours of sleep to do more. So we understand that night time is not only for sleeping. So here Imam is telling that Jamaat Munjamani at that time that Have Khudani Bandagi Karo. It is late in the night, now sit in Ibadat Bandagi. Maulana Hazima mein વધુમાં ફરમાવ્યું. Then he added more. દુઆ ઇબાદતનું ફરમાન છે તે પ્રમાણે ચાલવું જોઈએ. હાલ તમને દુઆ પढ़વાનું ફરમાન છે. 200 વર્ષ પછી કાલ સવારે દુઆ પढ़વાની મના ફરમાવીએ તો પढ़વી નહીં જોઈએ. Very interestingly, Imam is again elaborating as if, Jamaat has not understood. So Imam is giving another example about Farman Bardari. That whenever this is now the time to do dua and ibadat, and I have given you Farman, so you do say your dua and you do ibadat. But after 200 years after, very interestingly, 200 years after, it won't be Sultan Muhammad Shah. Physically, Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah is gone after 200 years. But Imam is teaching us something, that Faramins change according to the time. Shariat changes. Shariat of our tariqah changes. And if we don't walk with the time, we will not understand that there was a change coming after 200 years. What is that change? Very interestingly, Imam is giving us example that after 200 years, if I were to give you farman, then do not say dua, then don't say dua. Right now it's compulsory. But tomorrow when I tell you not to say dua, again, imagine, how can we not say dua? If we say that, meaning we are asking, we are questioning Imam's farman. It is the farman, so we do not do that. Simple as that. No questions asked. That is the key to farman bardari. Na farmani करे तो तेवी पीरी मुरीदी थी काई फायदो नहीं. Those who become na farman, meaning when Imam has given us farman not to do that, and somebody does do that because they think it is the right thing to do. Then Imam says, Evi piri muridi. You know, that kind of followers, I don't need that. You don't have to be those kind of followers. હાલ તમોને ફરમાવ્યું કે આ રસ્તે ચાલો તો તે જ રસ્તે ચાલવું જોઈએ. જે વખતે જે કાંઈ ફરમાન થાય તે પ્રમાણે ચાલે તો જ ફરમાન પાળ્યા ગણાય. Imam is guiding us that we have to follow the Faramin according to our time. According to our time. If we do not understand these Faramins according to our time, then we have as if not followed the Faramins. Farmans have to be followed according to today's time. Why? Let's take an example. In that time, during that time, which we are studying the Faramins, it is 1893, right? At that time, Jama'at used to do bandagi from 12 midnight onwards. They would sit in Ibadat at 12 o'clock. Today, someone says, I will sit in Ibadat at 12 o'clock. In the morning, they are at work sleeping. Imam says, Hazimam's farmans are very clear that we have to have ethics. How can you be sleeping at work because you are sitting in Ibadat? Are you better than those who are working hard at work? No, you don't have ethics. Simple as that. Because you are missing on work ethics. So we have to understand that we have to understand Faramin according to today's time. Life was different at that time. Life today is very different. So we do not live in the past and follow the Faramins today. We have to live in the present and understand Imam's Faramin. Here, I do not mean to say that we should not do more. We should do riyazat, but according to our abilities, not compromising what we are expected to do in our lives. So there is use of intellect, understanding of the Faramin, and Farman Bardari of Faramins. Na farmani करे, okay. હાલ તમોને ફરમાવ્યું કે આ રસ્તો ચાલો તો તે જ રસ્તે ચાલવું જોઈએ જે વખતે જે કોઈ ફરમાન થાય. Okay, according to the time. જેમ ભૂમિઓ ચલાવે તે પ્રમાણે ચાલે તો મંઝિલે પહોંચે. Again, Imam is bringing up the guide. Guide who helps us to travel into the new country. We do not know our path. Imam is giving that example saying that if the guide tells you whatever he tells you to take you to the destination, you got to follow the direction of the guide. If you want to reach to the destination, if you want to. Key is if you want to. If you don't, your choice, right? તમે પણ તે પ્રમાણે ચાલશો તો જ ઠેકાણે પહોંચશો. નહીં ચાલો તો નહીં પહોંચશો. So Imam is telling us very clearly that if we want to reach to the destination, we have to follow the farmans. If we do not, then we will not reach the destination. Simple as that. What are we seeking? Destination. So let me share this Quranic verse. Can you see this screen of mine?
Not
Sorry?
yet. Not yet.
Not
no.
yet. Okay, so I have to stop and do it. So every time when I change the screen, I have to reshare. Now, Quranic verse, are you able to see, Karim?
Ji.
Okay, wonderful. So this is the Quranic verse which we say in our dua. And what I have done, I have given you different translation along with transliteration, right? This is 4 by 59. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu atiullaha wa atiur rasul wa ulil amra minkum. This, this sentence from this chapter, Surah Nisa, verse 59, we say this in our dua. So let's first look at the meaning of this. And we have different translators, Arabic scholars, so-called Arabic scholar, those who know the language, have the command on the language, and they are translating this for us. And it is very important when we are in today's time, seeking this knowledge, we have to pick up the Quran to understand Farhamins. And when we pick up Quran, we have to have several translations. And to be able to distinguish how the translators are misleading depending on their own belief system. And online it is easy because we can look at different translations, right? So let's just look at the one which we know very well, the first sentence here. O you who believed, obey Allah, obey the messenger and those in authority among you. Sounds right? Because this is what we understand, right? O you who believe, obey Allah, obey the messenger, and we have been told who is the messenger, Prophet Muhammad, and those of you Muslims who are in authority. So do we see here people using their intellect, Muslims, as if others are not Muslims, those who accept those in authority? And we don't have to go far. There are people in this world who think smileys are not Muslims. So when they do that, what they are telling others, that smileys are not Muslims. There are so many firqa of Islam sect which are not seen as Muslims. The way we look at Christianity, Christianity has so many sects now, so many different groups of Christians, right? Similarly, Islam also has that, Muslim also has that. So when they put this in bracket, they are saying that others are not Muslims. So you have to accept those in authority who are Muslims. O you who believe, obey Allah and obey the messenger of those of you who are in authority. Those who are in authority, ulil amra. And then Yusuf Ali, who is Shia, he says, O you who believe, obey Allah, obey the messenger and those charged with authority among you. So almost everybody is saying the ones with authority. There's nothing as per se different than those things which are written in brackets. So we understand and we realize that how others think of Ismailis as not Muslims. We have our own tariqah and we have our own imam to follow his Farhameen and follow our tariqah, and we are Muslims, Ismailis. We are Muslims. But of course, when people look at these translations without using their intellect, they will misunderstand. Anyways, the key is that the hukum of Imam, of Farman Bardari, which we studied in today's Farman, it is also mentioned in Quran. Imam is the one who is Malik of Amr, Ulil Amr. He is the one who is the Malik, who is the authority in authority, and he has the Amr. So when we are looking at this verse, what we realize that when we obey the farmans of Imam, it is as if we are obeying the farmans of Prophet Muhammad and we are obedient to Allah. If someone says, oh, I obey Allah and the Prophet and I do not obey Imam, they are not accepting the hukum given in Quran. Because only those who are in authority is chain of the light of Imam, Nurun Allah Nur, Imam. Hazi Imam is the direct descendant of Prophet Muhammad. Maula Ali was announced at Ghadir-e-Kum to be the Janashi. Now, we all are Ismailis here. Why are we talking here? Remember, we have talked about it that the Jama'at lives now in different countries, and our youngsters, when mingle with other, people in the world, they need to understand the meaning of this Quranic verse and understand how to read Quran translations if they do not know the Arabic, and probably learn to read transliteration. There are better versions of transliteration available online, but we have to make a habit of reading the transliteration to be able to pick up the words, Rasulu, Amr, all these words, we know that. So we will be able to pick up words which we understand. The objective is that we have to take this riyazat, this responsibility now, We cannot say no to it. We have to pick up the Quran, read the translation and transliteration to know the meaning. And very interestingly, this is known as ayah-ita'ah, the words of obedience. And the whole Farman, different examples we studied, it is all about being obedient to Imam. We don't have time to discuss this, otherwise we could have discussed. Just for those who are very interested, look at this word ta'wil. Do you see this word ta'wil? And we understand what ta'wil means. Read all the translations and you'll be having interesting journey that how they have translated the ta'wil. I have this Farman to show you. Hazrat Imam's Farman of 13th December 1964. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For hundreds of years, my spiritual children have been guided by the rope of Imam. You have looked to the Imam of the age for advice and help in all matters. And through your Imam's immense love and affection for his spiritual children, his Noor has indicated to you where and in which direction you must turn so as to obtain spiritual and worldly satisfaction. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Do we need to discuss it anymore? When Imam's faramins are shocking for us, or Imam's faramins are strange for us sometimes. Like for example, here, Imam of the age. What is this age? Is it our age of 50 years, 40 years, 60 years? No. Imam of the age. Are we talking about Hazrat Imam's age? No. We are talking about Imam of this time. And this time is the time of Qiyamah. Imam says that for hundreds of years, not just 100, 200, hundreds of years, after Prophet Muhammad, almost 1400 years are, we are ahead in that time. All this time, Jama'at has been guided by the rope of Imamat. And we've always looked to the Imam of the age, whoever the Imam is in this time, to advise us, to help us in all matters. And Imam loves us so much that it is his love that he gives us Faramin. When we obey that Faramin, we do know what we will gain. Spiritual as well as worldly satisfaction. Now, he doesn't have to work for our worldly satisfaction. We are as if others in the world. But he's so kind and merciful, so much in love with us, that he guides us for worldly life as well. So we have a comfortable, secure, happy worldly life, so we can invest more and more time for our Ruhani Taraqi. It is all about seeking elevation in Ruhaniyat. That is the reason Imam is in this world, to guide us. But it is his mercy that he guides us in both the direction for us to have a happy, comfortable, secure life, so we can focus our attention in elevation in Ruhaniyat by becoming Farman Bardar. Shukran lillah walhamdulillah, shukran lillah walhamdulillah.
Subhanallah, subhanallah, subhanallah. Niamat Saiba, wonderful explanation of the Farman, where Hazrat Imam teaches us or reminds us of the infallibility of the Imam and the need to accept his Farmans rather than challenge them even
naively.
Naively, yes, yeah. I noticed that in the Farman, Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah mentions Pir Murshid instead of Imam. So it would be interesting if you can give a bit more explanation on that, because obviously at that particular point in time, the Piratan had been
merged.
joined
It was
with
later, actually. It was
anyway.
later. Yeah.
Or was it later? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was later. It was 1893 is beginning time, later. This actually is stems from Sufism. And we have talked about that, when we look at this term, right? Fanafil Imam or Baka Billah, all these terms actually come from Sufism. And remember, Sufi in today's time is very different. Sufism has been limited to Maulana Rumi's verses. So it has taken a different shape and form due to Western people becoming interested in Rumi. And those who become interested in Sufism, when they read the book, they don't understand what is Sufism all about. The first Sufi we know is actually Maula Ali. The first Sufi was Maula Ali. During that time when Prophet Muhammad had left this world, a group who became so disheartened with all the politics which was going on with Abu Bakr, Umar, all, they became the Khalifa and they were misguiding the people and they were not giving rightful place to our Imam, Maula Ali. They became so disheartened that they left everything. They kind of became in the sidelines. And they started focusing on understanding Quran, understanding, the talimat of Prophet Muhammad, and they would seek guidance from Maula Ali. Maula Ali would teach them, and they would spend more and more time in zikr ibadat. And that's how the Sufi culture started. And the first Sufi teacher was Maula Ali. And in the Sufism, these terms came in that we have to merge in Imam, which in our tradition, we said asal mein wasal, right? So there are very many terms which we take from Sufism. If someone is really interested about, like reading about Sufism, there is a book on spirituality and practical Sufism. So you can read that on monoreality.org or smileyliterature.org. These books, 2 books are there about Sufism, so you can read those books. But the term Murshid and Pir is actually teaching us about the concept of fana. Sufis believe that they have to fana in the higher rank, meaning their sheikh or murshid, who they call their teacher. A group of people will be under a teacher who would be called sheikh or murshid, and they have to accept everything, every command. Why? They have to go through that hard practice, and sometimes the practices will be very, very difficult, meaning shocking, unacceptable to mind. And we have a good example that the kings have done that, knowing that king, in the worldly sense, they have to teach and take care of their subjects, and king cannot be arrogant. The wise kings of the time, they used to send their sons to Sufi training, and the Sufi teacher would ask them to go beg. So imagine a prince have to go now and beg. Very, very hard for his ego. So the objective, the key was in the Sufi training that you accept your teacher in such a way that you do not say no to your teacher. You accept whatever the teacher says, meaning you have no ego. You do not use your intellect. You use your intellect to understand, but when it comes to hukum, farman, you accept. Meaning you fana in your teacher. Now teachers also have darjat. Then you go to the higher teacher and fana in that. Meaning first you fana yourself in your murshid. For us, it is exactly fana in imam, because our teacher is right now imam. Yes, in the time of Pir Sadruddin, Pir Hasan Kabiruddin, they were our teacher. So the Jama'at used to obey the farmans of the Pir because they were the teachers and become one with the teacher. When you become obedient, you become one. What does that mean? You become fana, meaning that you become so one with your teacher that wherever the teacher is in terms of rank, you come to that rank. If you're completely obedient and understand that hukum, you actually merge with them, meaning you elevate your ranks. And in your life, in your batin, there's another teacher, then there is another teacher. And similarly, you continue to progress to be fana in imam. So that was for Sufism to merge in teacher. For us, our imam is our teacher. So we fana in imam, fana fil imam, asal mein wasal during the lifetime. And then there are further stages. We do know from the hadith of mutu qabla an tamutu, that when we merge with our imam, become one during the lifetime, the way we see Prophet Muhammad merged with the Imam of his time, and that was Maulana Abu Talib. And then there is Baqa Billah, surviving by God. They live in the world, doing the work and the mission of the Imam. So Prophet Muhammad was doing the mission work of Maulana Imran. He was the teacher of Prophet Muhammad, and he was obedient to his Imam, and he became the Prophet because Maulana Imran was his teacher, his Imam. He became one with the Imam. So I hope this helps, Kareem.
Ji, thank you. That makes it much more clearer. Friends, if you have any questions or comments, please come forward.
Yeah, Limdat.
Madad.
You just explain if you do bandagi and you cannot stay up in the daytime. The people feel that way. I do feel that way. So how you can be better to if you stay up in bandagi or stay up in the night, the daytime you don't feel dizzy or you don't feel sleepy.
So Imam has guided us in so many different faramins, Baitul Khayal and general faramins. We always start slow. If we are not in the habit of waking up 4 o'clock, wake up at 4:30. Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah teaches us in Baitul Khayal Faramin that when you wake up, you cannot concentrate. Start focusing for 1 minute. For a week, focus for 1 minute. Next week, 2 minutes. The following week, 3 minutes. Meaning, whatever you can do which will not influence you to be not able to perform your worldly duties. Now, on the other hand, someone may say, oh, I was awake till midnight, 12 o'clock. How do I wake up? I cannot wake up at 4 o'clock because I feel sleepy. Do we understand the example? How can you even ask that question? People do that. Meaning, we have been taught, do not eat dinner or eat very light dinner and go to bed on time. Do not be staying awake. When you go to bed in time, you will wake up. If you don't wake up for bandagi, the hunger will wake you up because you want to drink tea or eat something. So you force yourself to first sit in bandagi and then eat something. So there are means and ways to train this carnal soul who does not want to wake up for bandagi. Carnal soul has to be tamed. It is a beast which we have to tame. Have we ever seen a wild horse or wild animal being trained to follow the commands of the master? They are beaten with the hunter to obey the farmans. Meaning our carnal soul is a beast, and we have to be so strict with this beast to tame it, to do what we want it to do. Meaning to wake up in the morning time and sit in ibadah. I hope this helps.
Yes, thank you.
Anyone else who has any questions or comments? I see Razia is unmuted. Okay, she's muted herself again. Anybody else who's got any comments or questions?
I think they need to reflect a lot because it sounds so easy for Bardari, right? But there is so much more we have to reflect individually. How are we as individual for Bardari?
Okay. Thank you, Niamat Saiba, once again for a wonderful session. Thank you, friends, for joining. And inshallah, we'll be starting on Farman number 19 next week. And thank you.
Yali
Yali Madad Appa, thank you so much.
Madad, Shah. Yali Madad.